When you're all set to buy the Ford Ranger Raptor, but the missus reminds you that you need a 7-seater family vehicle instead, well, you could still meet her halfway by buying the Ford Everest 4x4 Titanium. You do have to pony up a little bit more cash though, so maybe the wife can shoulder the balance. But the bigger question here is, will the Everest Titanium 4x4 satisfy your cravings for a macho mobile and please the wife at the same time? That's what we're here to find out. Let's do this. Hello again guys, I'm Reagan and we are back here at Ford Alabang, who graciously gave us this opportunity to check out and try out the Ford Everest Titanium 4x4. Now if you are in the vicinity of Ford Alabang and you have a craving for anything Ford, do check them out and pay them a visit. Now if you look at the Ford Everest, this is the SUV brother of the Ford Ranger. That makes the Everest the pickup-based SUV that is meant to run against the likes of the Montero Sport or the Toyota Fortuner. Now, while the Everest can hold its own against these mid-size SUV titans, Ford decided to up the ante further with this refreshed model. Now, since this is a refreshed model, this is not much different from the previous Everest when it comes to looks. You do get a redesigned front grille here that is finished in chrome and it's flanked by two headlight housings that have the same design as the previous Everest. You got your projectors type headlights here, but these are now LED headlights and you got LED DRLs as well. For the front bumper, it's the same design, but this one also comes with that matte aluminum finish bumper overrider. Now this overrider is no giant bash plate that can be found in the Raptor, but I find it quite attractive and quite elegant at the same time. You do get your fog lights as well as your front parking sensors in front. Now, if you will look at the front fascia of this Everest, I find that it has that look of a gentle giant, brawny yet sophisticated at the same time. And honestly, in my opinion, I find that the look of the Everest to be the most handsome amongst all the mid-size SUV offerings in the local market. Adding to that upscale look are these gorgeous 20-inch wheels found on the new Everest. Well, these are still the same size as the previous Everest, but the design is different and it looks far more expensive than the previous Everest. In terms of side profile design, not much have changed. You still get your roof rails here, you get your power folding side mirrors with the chrome finish. Now maybe one of those tiny changes that can be found would be this emblem here that now sports the word BiTurbo, giving you an indication of what kind of engine can be found under the hood. BiTurbo, not twin turbo, because twin turbo is so 1990s. Yeah, so it's now BiTurbo. Anyway, you also get this large step board here that helps you climb into Everest. And I did say climb because as you can see, the Everest is one of the largest mid-size SUVs you can buy in the local market. It's so large that you could see that the belt line of the window is so high that it looks like the windows are so small. But trust me, the windows are not small. The truck is just tall. Or maybe I'm just small, that's why it looks so tall. But anyway, that height of the Everest translates to a ground clearance of 225 millimeters and a flood wading capacity of 800 millimeters. So the Everest won't shy away from any type of Manila flooded roads or any river crossings that you would probably think of. Now I like the rear end of the Ford Everest. It's got that nice bubble butt look to it. It's quite sexy and it has some design cues that ties it together with the pricier models in Ford's lineup, namely the Explorer and the Expedition. You get this nice chrome strip found here in the middle and it spells out the word Everest right there. It's nicely done. It's quite classy. You get your rear tail lights here that are full LEDs. These are beautifully designed as well. And you get your rear camera here and this nice textured rubberized material here on the top of your rear bumper just to prevent any scratches from happening on your rear bumper when you're loading heavy stuff that might scratch the paint. Now you also get this matte aluminum finish rear bumper overrider at the back, which ties the look together with the one found in the front. Now when you open the liftgate, you'll see that the Everest sports an automatic power liftgate, and that's another thing that I like about these Ford trucks. You see, Ford makes these macho trucks, but they don't want you to use your macho muscles to operate the truck. So upon opening the power liftgate, you will notice that the Everest is a 3-row SUV and we have the 3rd row up. And despite that, we still have 450 liters of trunk space found at the rear of the 3rd row. You also get some nice cubby holes here at the bottom of the trunk, which stores your tools and other stuff that you want to hide from the missus. Now, you also get these nice, thoughtful hooks here, which would help to tether down anything that you're loading inside your Everest, just in case that you're holding something that might slide around and all that. You also get this 12-volt power charger here. So it's a 12-volt socket. That's also good for your gadgets or when you're out camping or whatever. And if ever you need more space, and 450 liters is not enough, all you need to do is press the button here at the side, and that already tumbles down your third row seats. As you can see, and when your third row seats have already tumbled into the floor, you get over 1,000 liters of trunk space. Now, another thing that I noticed is that you also get these nice LED lights here at the back and here at the side. So that gives you a lot of good lighting whenever you're fumbling around in your trunk and you're looking for something. Now that is a very thoughtful touch. Now if over 1,000 liters is still not enough for you, you could manually tumble down the second row seats, and that gives you over 2,000 liters of trunk space. Now, that's a little bit of overkill already, but if 2,000 liters of trunk space is still not enough for you, well, you might as well buy an Expedition, man. Anyway, let's go over to the front and see what kind of engine powers this Everest. Let's go. Now, Ford decided to streamline its engine options for its local truck lineup, and that's why the Everest sports the same engine that's found in the Ranger Raptor, as well as the Wildtrak pickup. This here is a 2-liter BiTurbo diesel engine that's good for 213 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque. Now, this is also mated to the new 10-speed automatic transmission coming from the 6-speed transmission found in the previous models. Now, the 4x4 model also comes with an electronic rear locking differential as well that will help you with those off-road jaunts and duties. Now, the engine may have been downsized to 2 liters, coming from a previous 3.2-liter diesel engine, but that also translates to more power and a better fuel economy. This 2-liter BiTurbo diesel engine can give you around 8 kilometers per liter when it comes to city driving, and that's heavy city traffic driving, and it can go up as high as 18 kilometers per liter when it comes to highway driving. Now, that's a big improvement, especially given that the fact that the Everest weighs a hair below 2.5 tons. So that's a pretty decent amount of fuel economy. Now, let's go inside and check out what kind of goodies were changed in the refreshed Everest. Now, when you go inside the Everest, and upon opening the door, the first thing that you'll notice is that you've got this metal door sill plate that has an illuminated Everest word there. Fancy touch. Now, aside from that, you also get your nice leather seats here. And you also get power adjustable seats for both driver and passenger. So this top spec Everest is one fancy cat. Now let's get over inside just to see how it feels to be inside the Everest. Now once you step inside the Everest, the first thing that you'll notice is just how masculine the entire cockpit looks. I mean, you got this overall dark and black theme going on that reminds you that you're not in some plushy little crossover, but rather you're in a purpose-built SUV that's meant to take out any terrain. Now you get this nice leather wrap steering wheel. It's got a nice diameter to it. It's nice to the touch. So if you've got larger hands, you wouldn't have any issues gripping onto this wheel. However, the center area of the steering wheel comes in this glossy gunmetal finish. So I don't know how durable this will be, how long it will take before it would start getting some scratches, especially if you've got long nails when you're driving your car. You got your usual Ford buttons found here, and when you look at your instrument gauges, the instrument gauges of the Everest is the same ones found in the Ford Ranger. So if you're familiar with that, that would be practically the same. You get your analog speedometer front and center, and it's flanked by 2 digital displays, which shows you the vital information that you need whenever you're driving. Now, the glossy gunmetal finish extends all the way to the infotainment screen. This is an 8-inch infotainment screen, the same one found in the Raptor. So that means that it's also Ford's Sync 3 infotainment system, and it also has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, if you go into reverse, you also will see that your rear view camera will be displayed here as well. Now, the good thing about this though is it has these physical knobs right here at the bottom for your volume and your tuning station and the power button as well. So that should help give you it should help you focus on the road, and you don't really have to fiddle on your LED screen whenever you want to change channels on your infotainment system. You get your dual zone climate control system here, a couple of USB ports, a nice little cubby, and a 12-volt charger as well. You get your buttons here for your four-wheel drive modes right here, so it's not a rotary knob or a shifter, it's just plain buttons. All right, and you have this gorgeous looking shifter here. It's leather wrapped with some nice gunmetal accents, and it's connected to the 10-speed automatic transmission that's found here in the titanium variant. You also get the select shift option here, which means that you have a plus and minus button at the side of your shifter, which helps you shift your Everest in manual mode with a press of a button. It's not as intuitive as, say, paddle shifters or the gated plus and minus manual systems found in most other SUVs and crossovers, but maybe you'll get the hang of it as time goes by, or maybe not, I don't know. Now, beside this gorgeous shifter, you got here a knob that controls your terrain management. You see, the 4x4 titanium Everest comes with a terrain management system similar to the ones found in the Raptor, but the Raptor has 6 modes, the Everest only has 4, so you have to do with 4. What are these 4? There's a normal mode for regular paved streets, you get your snow, you get your sand, and you get your rock. So you're pretty much stuck with those 4, but at least you still get it, right? You got a nice manual e-brake here, you got a couple of cup holders, and nice center cubby that has a leather padding on there, nicely done, thoughtfully made. And if you look at your entire dashboard, you got this nice stitching on the top of the dashboard, and I don't know if this is made of leather material or just really nice and soft plastic, but anyway, it doesn't really matter, it really feels good to the touch. You also get this glossy black gunmetal finish with the words Everest there. That's not something that we find in the Raptor. The Raptor has more of a matte finish, gunmetal finish. This one is glossy, but this one has the words Everest, so that's a bit of a luxury touch. Another thing that you do get is you have this panoramic moonroof up top, and the good thing here is that panoramic let me just start it up and show you guys. So there you go. You could open it with a press of a button, and the good thing there is that it adds to that nice airy feeling inside your cabin. I mean, the Everest is already spacious as it is, but add that and wow, you got like a good amount of space inside. Now, any review of a Ford vehicle wouldn't be complete if you don't add the safety aspect of the vehicle, because Ford is quite serious when it comes to their safety. So the Everest comes with the usual alphabet soup of safety devices and gadgets. So you got your ABS with EBD, you got your hill start assist, you got your hill descent control, you got a pedestrian crossing, whatever, and collision mitigation stuff. There's a lot of safety features that I wouldn't want to name here in my video, but rather you could always check out the brochure if you're into that. But it's good to know that, you know, Ford is serious when it comes to the safety of all its vehicle offerings. Now, let's go over to the back seat and see what kind of creature comforts that your family can enjoy while you're going on a drive. Alright guys, so we're in the back seat of the Everest, and as you can see, the driver's seat is adjusted to somebody of my height. I'm 5'6", and you can see that I got a ton of knee room here, and I got a lot of leg room as well. So yeah, fantastic when it comes to knee room and leg room. The headroom, however, since the 4x4 titanium comes with this panoramic moonroof, the headliner is a little bit lower than I would expect. So I only have maybe around 3 inches worth of space from my head to the headliner. So if you're somebody with a longer torso than me, or maybe a longer neck, or probably just a taller guy than me, the headroom might pose a little bit of an issue for you. The good news though is you still get your ceiling AC vents here, which means that keeping cool won't be an issue. You also get your LED reading lights as well, so you could you could read while you're riding in your Everest. Now, other toys that can be found here, well, you got your center armrest here, and the center armrest hides a secret. What's that secret? You got secret cup holders. So these fancy cup holders will hold on to your drinks, and you could just put them back in like that, and that's only if there are 2 passengers here in the back seat. 3 in a row, not a problem. Somebody of my size, my height, won't be an issue at all. And other toys that can be found here, you got your climate control system here as well for the rear air conditioning, and you also get a 12-volt charger here, and you also have a 230-volt socket for plugging in larger devices like a laptop or whatever. So Ford has got the formula of the interior down pat, because one of the essential things that you have to provide to your passengers nowadays is a lot of charging ports, especially with a lot of devices that we've been using. And Ford doesn't disappoint in that category. You get 4 12-volt sockets and you get 2 USB ports. So that's a total of 6 charging ports found all over the Everest. The thing is, the Everest is a 7-seater car, so that means the 7th person is, well, the odd man out. Not really, because you've got a 7th plug, and that would be, as I mentioned, the 230-volt outlet that can be found here. So if you're the 7th person, just make sure that you're using a device that could be charged with a power outlet like that. Now anyway, enough with the second row. Let's head over to the third row to see what kind of comfort the people who got the shortest stick would get. Now to go into the third row, it's a little bit of a sore point for the Everest. You see, you could do that to the seat and it slides forward, but it doesn't really tumble forward. So that means that people who are relegated to the third row will have to be a little bit limber to get in. All right, and once you're in, you could, there you go. All right, so once you're seated and tucked in here in the third row, you'll see that even if you're the rearmost passenger, you didn't really get the shortest stick in the bunch. Why? Because you still get some creature comforts and some goodies here at the back as well. First of all, in terms of leg room and foot room, you get a decent amount. So I'm 5'6" and my knee doesn't even touch the seat back of the second row. You also get your ceiling AC vents here, so that should keep you cool, and you got your LED mounted, ceiling mounted light here as well. You get a couple of hooks just in case you want to put some bags there, and a couple of cup holders as well. You don't get any charging ports here at the back, but if you really need to charge your devices, you could reach over to the trunk and there's a 12-volt socket found there. Yeah, so overall, the back seat here, it doesn't feel like it's an afterthought. It's not like the designers just threw in a couple of seats here and called it a day. The Everest seems like it's really built to accommodate 3 rows of seats, and that's a good thing because the third row will feel quite comfortable here even if you go on a slightly longer trip than normal. Just don't go on an all-day trip because you might get some cramps in this area. Now, let's get out of the third row, head over back to the driver's seat, and take this Everest out for a drive just so I can give you how it feels on the road. So let's go for the drive right now. Alright, so we're now behind the wheel of the Ford Everest 4x4 Titanium. And right off the bat, in terms of visibility, one thing I noticed is that you got a steeply raked windshield here, which in a little way, it compromises on the visibility up front. It's not really that bad, but it's not as wide and open and as expansive as the other 7-seater SUVs that I've tried. Granted, your A-pillar is on the slim side, so at least that helps a little bit in the visibility. But this steeply raked windshield gives you that impression that you're driving a passenger sedan rather than a 7-seater SUV. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a matter of preference, I guess. Now, in terms of seat comfort, the seats are quite firm, but they're not hard, okay? They are quite supportive and firm, and they have good lumbar support as well. So this should help keep you on a nice, good posture while you're going on your long drives. In terms of climate control, the air conditioning is quite cold. It's quite comfortable here inside, so that's not an issue. Okay, right now we're in a stoplight, and we're gonna try the acceleration. Wow, yes. This Everest has the same engine as the Ford Ranger Raptor, and you could feel it. In terms of acceleration, because the Everest is a little bit lighter than the Raptor, you know that you could accelerate faster, well, quicker than the Raptor. In terms of handling, I'm taking this corner here, going through some speed bumps. Okay. The suspension of the Everest is quite composed. It's well sorted out. It's a little bit tuned towards the comfort side, which is a good thing, especially for these ladder-based ladder chassis-based SUVs, because you want it to be a little bit more composed, similar to what you'd find, let's say, in a crossover. Granted, you do get some occasional dips and body rolls here and there, which is normal for something like this. It's a high-riding 7-seater SUV, and it's meant to take on tougher terrain than what we're going through now. One thing I do notice though whenever I'm accelerating is, despite that active noise cancelling feature that Everest has inside the cabin, the engine noise of the diesel still permeates into the cabin. I mean, whenever you step on the gas, you could hear that engine noise. So I guess that means one thing. This diesel engine at 2 liters is a noisy engine. I'm not saying that it's a weak engine, it's just a noisy engine. So at least it's still capable, but it's just a little bit noisy. But maybe after a while you get used to that diesel engine noise. Alright, so we're here at the stoplight. We're gonna try that acceleration once again. 2, 1, and go. Woohoo! Yeah! This baby can roll! Yeah, you could feel all that 213 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque pulling this baby up this hill, going through this curve. The combination of the suspension tuning and this more powerful engine gives you a very engaging drive. Wow. It feels more like a performance truck, especially with that Raptor engine up front. Yes. So I'm taking this curve at speed and it's going quite well. I'm sending it well. And the suspension, though there are some body rolls there here and there, well, it still remains composed. Of course, you have to be careful when you're pushing it to the limit because this is still a high-riding 7-seater SUV. It doesn't have that same suspension tuning that can be found in the Raptor. But as a family SUV, as a family vehicle, it acquits itself perfectly well. I also love the fact that in terms of the suspension, it's more composed on the road than other 7-seater SUVs out there. It doesn't have that jarring ride going through like many bumps found on our not so perfect roads. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing. This Everest, I would dare say, is one of the most comfortable, if not the most comfortable suspension in any of the 7-seater SUVs that I've driven. And that's saying a lot. We're going through these curves again. Yes, this Everest with its BiTurbo can do this all day. It can do this all day, man. Woo! Fantastic. Nice. Another thing that I noticed, the steering wheel feels so light. It's also probably the lightest steering wheel that I've ever encountered in any of my car reviews. Considering that this is a big brawny SUV, the steering wheel, light. You don't need brawny muscles to drive this truck. Awesome. Fantastic. So overall, guys, well, Ford has done it again. Yes, I know this is just a refresh model. I know that there's practically no changes that happen inside the cabin. But the new engine up front, coupled with a nicely tuned suspension, makes for a very engaging driver's truck in the Ford Everest. And the good thing here is the missus wouldn't even complain as well because there's a lot of space and tech goodies found at the back. And the ride is so comfortable, and that's all that matters. The 2020 Ford Everest 4x4 Titanium is a highly capable and handsome 7-seater SUV made even more capable by the enhancements it has received. The uprated engine will satisfy any macho daddy's craving for more power in their truck, while the 10-speed automatic transmission will ensure that you have superb fuel economy. The ample space inside, as well as the tech goodies, as well as the fantastic NVH levels will satisfy any discerning soccer mom. It all boils down to the price though. This top spec 4x4 Titanium comes in at a hair below 2.3 million pesos, which may seem like a lot of money. But if you compare it to other SUV 4x4 offerings in the market coming from other mainstream brands, well, it seems that the Ford Everest 4x4 Titanium is quite a good value for money after all. Once again, guys, thank you for watching one of my car reviews. If you like this review, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. I promise you guys I'll make it worth your while if you subscribe to my channel. Again, I'm Reagan, and I'll see you again in another video. Bye-bye.